There are more women on this planet than men. In the United States, we have about a quarter of our population in jail. Another quarter of our population identifies as LGBTQ. So with that being said, it is a nigga shortage out here. There's a shortage of available good niggas out here. So for all you bitches that think you deserve your own nigga, like your own personal nigga, like that's only yours. Like, okay, some women that do. But are you that bitch? Like, what do you bring to the table and make you think you deserve your own nigga and it's a nigga shortage? Sis, grow up. You have to share that nigga. That's our...
Biologically, is designed for one main purpose, procreation. Anything else, that's extra. The female reproductive cycle comes around once a month. For a man, it's every day. For each sexual act, the woman's one egg is matched by the man's 120 million sperm cells. And let's do some calculation. 120 million sperm cells a day, every day, as opposed to one egg a month every month, means, assuming all the cells are viable, that it will take only 30 men to impregnate all the women in the world. This points to one clear fact. A man is, by nature, polygamous. Monogamy and fidelity are unnatural situations promulgated by religious beliefs and social pressures. Take those away, every man will cheat. It's simply biological. Now let's look at the extra. It's a known fact that women, for the most part, are more emotional than men. So it's natural that after a sexual encounter, she'll be attached. But because a man is visual and logical in nature, there's no emotion involved. For him, it's just a physical release that's got nothing to do with love. A man loves his woman by protecting and providing for her. Period. It's really quite simple. For a man, the physical and the emotional, two separate entities.
Would you tolerate cheating from me?
Of course, I would.
Now, why is that?
Because men biologically cheat.
Tell me more.
Because you can go sleep with a girl right now and it's just pleasure. For example, we're surrounded right now by a shit ton of amazing clubs. You can walk into the club right now, get super drunk, and just have a one-night stand, but you're still coming home to me, sleeping with me, providing for me, and doing everything you're supposed to. It's just biologically made that men are gonna go ahead and cheat because it's just pleasure. You know what I mean? It's status, basically, when men cheat.
But when women cheat,
It's disrespect, because when we cheat, it's a connection. Like, we cheat with intention, we cheat with emotions. You guys don't cheat with emotions, we do. So I don't think a man should stay with a woman that cheats on her.
now why wouldn't you feel insecure by finding out that I, was blowing another chick's back out?
As women, you're meant to be feminine and protective of the home and stay with your partner and take care of the kids. So if you're providing for me and doing everything you're supposed to, I will definitely tolerate cheating. But if it's a 50-50 relationship, it's like I'm your roommate. Why are you like making me downfall like that?
Shalom Akim, Shalom, Shalom. Alright, this is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Come with another lesson to the Spirit. Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, for whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in this word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. You Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all, Barakatham. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 18. And it reads, And the Lord Power said, It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him. All right. So, the name of this lesson is, But the Woman of the Man. All right. But the woman of the man. And I decided to share, a few videos. And, some very important points was made in those videos that I wanted to extrapolate on. All right. because as we inch closer towards, towards the new a new world that's coming, or shall I say, a renewed world, as we're coming into this new era. All right, it's important to note the the principles that we're going to be coming back to, right? So let me get this precept that just came to mind. This is it's like Amos chapter 9, verse 11. All right, Amos 9:11 reads, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old." All right. So these old ways that we're used to, or that we were accustomed to before, all right, we're coming back to those days, man. All right. Another precept, real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16. It reads, "Thus saith the Lord power, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Where's the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein." All right. But those old paths, those old ways, we're going back to them. Okay. And it's only by us going back to the ways that actually worked are we actually going to be able to find rest for our souls. Okay, both men and women and children. All right. And actually all the nations. See what I'm saying? All the nations. Minus Esau, of course. But nevertheless, let's dive into it. All right. So, as I was thinking about these videos in their orders, you know what I'm saying, I was thinking about the particular points that was made in each video. All right. So the first video, you had the woman who was on the treadmill, and I've used that clip a couple times, you know what I'm saying, in previous lessons. All right. But the point she was making is that, there's more women than there are men. You know what I'm saying? There's more women than there are men, and that gap will only increase as time goes on and Jacob's trouble reaches its peak. You know what I'm saying? This is why you get the prophecy in Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. All right, this is where you have that, because it's prophesying of a time that's coming where there's not going to be any men left. Right? There will be no men around. Let me get this here. Let's go to book of 2nd Esdras. This is 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse. Let's get verse 23. Now let's get verse 22. All right. 2nd Esdras 16:22. "For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth." All right, there shall be no man left to till the earth. Who tills the earth? It's men. It's not women. Right? Women don't go around with lawnmowers by and large. You see what I'm saying? They don't go around with lawnmowers and trimming trimming the sides of the roads and all that stuff, man. All right. Verse 24, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. So that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. All right, jumping down to verse 33. It reads, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. For in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So there's going to be a massive shortage of men very soon. All right. We're already seeing shortages of shall I say straight men, heterosexual men, a shortage of, men that actually know how to maneuver and operate in the world. You see what I'm saying? All right, that's already in shorter supply by the day. How much more when Jacob's trouble commences? All right, and reaches its peak. You see, it's going to be very few men left. All right. The second video was the lady who was explaining, all right, biologically that there's a code within men. All right, it's biologically coded within men to sleep with multiple women, and she presented the case very clearly, very plainly. You know what I'm saying? In just a few short seconds. All right. So it's in our nature to sleep with multiple women, regardless of their of our racial disposition. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what ethnicity they are. You know what I'm saying? All right. Men, especially Jake men, you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians, especially y'all men. All right. You will lay down the pipe no matter what it is, no matter who it is. You see what I'm saying? What nationality? It doesn't matter. All right. And it's the way that the Lord created men to be. You see what I'm saying? Let's go to Genesis. All right, Genesis chapter 9 and verse 1. It reads, and the Most High blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. All right. One key thing that the lady said in that debate, she said what? She said, for your one egg, men produce millions of sperm cells. Millions of sperms. You see what I'm saying? So that's millions of sperm to one egg. And granted, you know what I'm saying? Granted, all those sperm cells are viable. You know what I'm saying? And they're healthy. It would take 30 men to repopulate the entire planet. Well, in this case, it took Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, to repopulate the entire planet. You see what I'm saying? And so it's in men's nature by those very parameters, it's in a man's nature to have sex with multiple women. All right, to be polygamous. You know, and this is a fact that you women are going to have to accept. You see what I'm saying? Because what I noticed is that a lot of women, especially those who call themselves Israelites, they don't believe in these scriptures. All right, they say they do. You know what I'm saying? They say they do, but they really don't. So after that, you have the third video where there was a young lady, all right, the young lady who appears to be from the northern tribes. Okay, she explained in detail why there's a difference between men and women performing this act. Okay? And why she would be willing to accept that. You know what I'm saying? If you get out of your feelings, okay, you can understand what's really going on, what's really happening, all right, both on a spiritual level and a biological level, the way that the Lord created both men and women. All right. So, when you think about how the Lord created men to be, okay, he created us to be capable of expanding ourselves to multiple women, all right, without there being any emotional attachment. Okay, while also having the capacity at the same time of being willing to provide for them should they wish to take these multiple women onto themselves. You know what I'm saying? So if we decide, all right, hey, you know what? This is more than just a smash, man. I think I'm feeling you. You know what I'm saying? Let me, let's get together, man. Let's get together. You be my woman. You know what I'm saying? I'll take care of you and all that stuff. All right. Men are capable of doing that with multiple women. All right. And in doing that, you know what I'm saying? They further, all right, they further expand their families, they expand their lineage. You see what I'm saying? They're doing what the Lord said to do. Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, man. All right. And it's much like when you think about it in the animal kingdom, all right, it's much like a lion in a pride of lionesses. You know what I'm saying? So let's go here to the book of Exodus. All right. Exodus chapter 21 and verse 10. Okay. It reads, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. All right. What did she say? She said if she's doing what she has to do, all right, remaining home, you know what I'm saying, keeper of the house, as the scriptures say, keeping home, taking care of the house, taking care of the children, you know what I'm saying, protecting the children while he's gone, okay, furthering the things that she's supposed to do in his absence. So long as the man is doing what he's supposed to do, coming home, providing for them, you know what I'm saying, taking care of them all right, making sure that they don't go without, excuse me, you know what I'm saying? So let me read that. It says, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. So long as a man is continuing to do exactly what he's supposed to do, it's all good. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? As the woman in the second video, while she was debating, she said, men show their love by how they provide for a woman. You see what I'm saying? With men, it's action. You see what I'm saying? It's action. We're in the image of the Lord, right? Men are in the image of the Lord, and the scriptures say that through him actions are weighed. You see? So men are about action and purpose. So when we actually care about you, when we give a damn about you, we do things that's necessary to upkeep you, to make sure that you're safe, to make sure that you're taken care of, that we put our lives on the line for you and the children. You see what I'm saying? But check this out, verse 11. And if he do not these three unto her, If he doesn't provide the food, if he doesn't provide the raiment, if he doesn't provide the duty of marriage, you know what I'm saying? If we don't lay down the pipe, you know what I'm saying? If we don't, if we don't, help you out on this, on certain things that you need help with, you know what I'm saying? All right. If we can't do what's necessary, okay, in terms of what our role as the men are, okay, because everyone has their own respective roles, okay. We call them traditional men, traditional women, okay. The problem that you have with today, all right, this whole dichotomy that women find themselves in, is that they're looking for men who can be traditional when they themselves refuse to be traditional women. All right? And that's why they find themselves in this predicament where they're not able to secure marriage, to secure relationships long term, you know what I'm saying, longer than a few years. Okay, it's because they refuse to be what a man needs them to be. All right, but they require a man to be what they need the man to be. You see that? It's imbalanced. All right. But you notice, as it says here, verse 11, it says, and if he do not these three things unto her, then she shall go out free. All right. Then she shall go out free. So you're able to divorce this man. You're able to walk away from this man if he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Okay? Not the way that you feel he should be doing, but everything that he's actively supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? Protecting, providing. All right? And that don't mean 6 fucking figures. You see what I'm saying? That's not what that means. All right? The minds of these women today is warped, man. Okay, but if he's doing what's necessary, okay, then, you know what I'm saying, that everything's good. If he's not, then you can leave. But here's the point. The stipulation with all this is, if you leave, it says, without money. All right? If he do not these three unto her, then she shall go out free, but without money. All right? That's the point right there. That's the point right there. It says, so, you know what I'm saying? So notice, all right, so notice it doesn't say, all right, it does say that a woman can leave, that she's allowed to do that. She can leave her husband if he's not providing for you and performing these duties that's needed. Okay? But it's that last point that's made, okay, where you shall go without money, meaning no alimony. You know what I'm saying? No alimony. If you have children, those children they stay with him. Those children stay with him. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because that's his seed. That's his offspring. You see what I'm saying? So no alimony, no children. Okay? If you leave with nothing. All right? The reason for this is because of women's nature. All right? That's the reason. It's because of women's nature. If you give them something for leaving, it becomes what? It becomes an incentive. This is where you get, all right, this is where you get, Title 4D, which is also known as child support. This is where you get women who'll get into a marriage and they'll stay for like 6 months and then they'll dip out and take half the man's assets. You see what I'm saying? Hell, there's a video that's circulating about a man who was who gave his woman all of his assets. He gave her all of his all the access to his businesses, all the access to his investments, all the assets to his bank accounts. You know what I'm saying? Everything he entrusted to his wife while he was going to jail. He went to jail. And while he was in jail, not only did she take all of his stuff, all his money, all his assets, all his real estate, she didn't just take all of that, but she blocked him on social media. She flaunted his wealth that she was using to build her own lifestyle on social media. And at the same time, she went and got herself a new man. And he had to sit there and suffer this. So long story short, he gets out. Okay, he gets out, and you know what I'm saying, he deletes her, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the scriptures say jealousy is the rage of a man. Right? But this is why the scriptures say, all right, according to our laws, that you don't give a woman anything when she decides to leave. You don't give her nothing when she leaves, because that's a woman's nature. A woman's nature is to be selfish. You see what I'm saying? A man gives his life for the sake of his family. That's selfless. That's a selfless act that men are expected to show. Women are selfish. Okay? That's in their nature. The scriptures say, marvel not if she trespass against thee. Let me get that real quick. Let's go to the book of Sirach. All right, Sirach chapter. Let's get Sirach chapter 26 and verse 11. It reads, let's start at verse 10. It says, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. Watch over an impudent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. You see? Don't marvel if she trespass against thee, because it's in her nature to do so. You see what I'm saying? It's in her nature to do it. All right, when the serpent came to deceive, he didn't come to Adam. He came to the woman. You see what I'm saying? Because he knows her nature. That's her nature. All right, her nature is to be manipulative. Her nature is to be conniving. You know what I'm saying? That's why the scriptures say, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Her price is far above rubies. You got a woman who can actively go against her own nature to deceive. All right, that's a wife right there, man. That's a wife, man. All right. He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. Because it's very hard. You know what I'm saying? It's like a needle in a haystack. All right. So the Lord knows you very well, because he created you, man. That's why it's written in the laws that the Lord gave Moses to present to the Israelites. Okay. If she decides to leave that marriage, do not give her anything, because she will, these women will use it as an incentive to leave. And we're seeing it running rampant today. Rampant. All right. Rampant. You'll have a child by another man, and you will manipulate this dude to thinking that he's the father, knowing damn well that he's not. You see what I'm saying? So the Lord knows you very well, man. And in the righteous world, there will be no child support, man. Ain't gonna be no child support. All this stuff that Esau gave you, it's about to go out the window. All right? So no incentives of any kind, because that's going to inevitably lead to corruption, man. Now, for a woman, let's say for a woman, all right, when a woman decides to, let me turn these off, Salakia. Okay, so, if a woman decides to go and deal with another man, okay, because we brought out what it is with a man. If a man does it, a man is able to detach emotions from this act. Okay? A man is able to do these things, all right, and not have any emotion attachment. And if he so happens to, then he can take this second wife unto himself, all right, and he can provide the same for both women, all right. or 3 women, or 5 women. You see what I'm saying? Or 7 women, however he chooses. So long as he has the means to adequately provide for them all. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference with a man. Now with a woman, we're talking about an entirely different beast. All right? Because when a woman decides to go from one man to another, all right, something biologically happens to her. Okay? Before the act, during the act, and after the act. Okay? And all these phases has an effect on her hypergamous nature. Okay? And this is the very hypergamous nature that the Lord gave her. All right? This is why you're only supposed to have one man in your life. Okay? So the first phase is she has to first gain the attraction of this new man. You know what I'm saying? During the second phase of you know what I'm saying, or shall I say, keeping on with the first phase, right? She's attracted to this guy, okay, knowing she has a man, she's attracted to him, okay? And while she's attracted to him, she's actively in the process of forgetting the man that she's with, okay? And then when she's in the bed with this man, that's stage 2, when she's in the bed with this man, okay? Because we're already past the texting, we're already past the secret, the secret dates or whatever, you know what I'm saying? All right, that was the attraction part. Now you in the bed with this nigga. You see what I'm saying? So when she's in the bed with him, she's now solidifying the thoughts of some sort of future with this man. You see what I'm saying? And then finally, after the act, her hypergamous nature is switching him with her new man now. You see? Let me get this. Let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's see. So this is Sirach chapter 23. All right, Sirach chapter 23 and verse 22, it says, "Thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband, and bringeth in an heir by another." All right. So you go to another man. Let's say he impregnates you. You get pregnant by his child. Okay. And then you got the nerve to bring that back to your husband. All right. Or your first man. You see what I'm saying? Which is your husband. All right. So it says, "Then shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband, and bringeth in an heir by another. For first she hath disobeyed the law of the Most High." All right. So first of all, you disobeying the Lord. And secondly, she has trespassed against her own husband. And thirdly, she had played the whore in adultery and brought children by another man. You see what I'm saying? When a man commits adultery, a man is committing adultery by taking the woman of another man. You see what I'm saying? That's how a man commits adultery, is if he's taking a woman who's already married or betrothed. You see what I'm saying? But a woman commits adultery by sleeping with anyone else other than her first man, because your first man is meant to be your only man. You see how that works? You see, so, and this is what has brought about so much confusion. All right, in the West as a whole, is because there's no more of these boundaries. All right, no more of these guidelines, no more of these laws that's put in place. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you think about that, ladies, when you think about that, how many of y'all are gritting your teeth right now thinking about this? How many of y'all are thinking about how unfair this is while you have your fringes on, while you have your head wrap on? You know what I'm saying? How many of you are thinking that this isn't fair? That's not equal. That's not right. If you're thinking that, then guess what? You haven't changed. If you're thinking that, that means that you're still under the influence of Esau Edom, and you haven't made the change, man. Okay, you're still westernized, as they say. All right, because a lot of y'all women are simply feminists with head wraps on. That's all you are. You know what I'm saying? But when you, after that final act, you know what I'm saying? Because I broke it down in stages. The first stage, you're attracted to the guy. All right? And in that attraction, you're actively forgetting this man that you're with. All right? When it gets to the phase where you're lying down with this man, okay, you're solidifying in your mind a future with that man. And then in the third phase, okay, after that, your hypergamous nature has replaced your husband with this new man. Okay? Which is why, you know what I'm saying, when she comes back to the first man, you know what I'm saying, she no longer looks at him the same way. She doesn't act the same way. She doesn't speak to him the same way. She doesn't touch him the same way. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because someone else is inside her now. Okay? And you have to keep in mind, when a man is inside you, all right, his genetic makeup becomes a part of you, right? The scriptures tell us that. Let's go to Jeremiah. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 1. It reads, they say, if a man put away his wife and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? You see what I'm saying? That land is greatly polluted. You women are considered soil. All right? You women are considered soil. The men are considered the planters. All right? We plant the seed. The seed is the sperm. All right? And we plant that in the soil. Now, if we so choose, we can go to another soil. We can plant seed in that soil, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Vice versa, but so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So let me read that again. Then they say, if a man put away his wife and she go forth from him and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Slack it. Forgive me. Allergies. All right, so let's see. They say, if a man put away his wife and she go from him and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? All right. But that's the point of that. If you do this enough times, women, you know what I'm saying? If you do this enough times, if you go from one man to the next man, to the next man, to the next man, all right, oftentimes you end up with women who develop all these various mental issues, you know what I'm saying, and physical plagues, all right? If you look at Texas, if you look at You look at Atlanta, Georgia. You look at all these different places, you know what I'm saying? All right. These women have the plagues, man. These women got the plagues, the H to the I to the V, man. Okay? All these plagues. And it's running rampant, man. You got to be very careful out here, man. These women are walking they're walking time bombs. You know what I'm saying? But you get all these different plagues. Essentially, you're dealing with multiple spirits, which is, which all these things become attached to you. That's the thing. This is why you cannot do what men do. You can't do it. All right? You get entered into. Men do the entering. You get entered into. It's two entirely different things. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot more risk involved with you. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot more problems that's involved with you. This is why you have to follow these guidelines, man. All right? It's for your benefit. Okay? It's for your benefit, man. The Lord created you to be this way, man. He created you to receive. All right? Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. It reads, unto the women he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desires shall be to thy husband. All right, and thy desires shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. That's the key point. And thy desires shall be to thy husband. Okay? This is why you're only allowed to have one man. You see what I'm saying? Until that man, dies, goes on, you're attached to that man forever. You see? Let me see. I had asked ChatGPT a couple questions to clarify these things. So let's go to that conversation. Bear with me. All right. So I asked ChatGPT, can you explain to me what husbandry is? It says, sure. Husbandry generally refers to the care, cultivation, and breeding of animals or crops. Is most commonly used in the context of agriculture and farming. All right, you have animal husbandry. Okay, this involves the management and breeding of domesticated animals like cows, sheep, pigs, goats, chickens, etc., including feeding and nutrition, breeding and genetics, housing and welfare, health and disease control, reproduction and birthing practices. The goal is often to improve productivity like meat, milk, eggs, wool, all right, while ensuring the animals are healthy and well cared for. Crop husbandry. This refers to the cultivation of management of plants or crops, including soil preparation and fertilization, planting and irrigation, pest and weed control, harvesting and storage. The aim is to maximize crop yield and quality in a sustainable way. All right. Sometimes husbandry is also used more broadly to mean careful or thrifty management of resources. For example, financial husbandry or land husbandry. All right. I then asked, so a husbandman is someone who plants seeds and cultivates land? He said, exactly. A husbandman is an old-fashioned or historical term for someone who works the land. Typically a farmer who grows crops and sometimes raises animals as well. More specifically, a husbandman is usually associated with small-scale agriculture, all right, working his own land or someone else's. The word comes from husbandry, as in practicing or managing and cultivating land and animals. All right, so it essentially gives it essentially goes into all that. All right. So yes, a husbandman plants seeds, cultivates land, and often manages animals. Basically, a traditional farmer. All right. Let me get a precept. All right. 2 Esdras chapter 2, verse 6. It says, the husbandman that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits. Okay? The husbandman that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits. So then I asked, can the concept of a husbandman metaphorically be applied to the relationship between a husband and a wife? I said, yes, absolutely. The concept of a husbandman can be metaphorically applied to the relationship between a husband and a wife, and in fact, this metaphor has been used historically, especially in religious, literary, and philosophical contexts. Metaphorically speaking, if a husbandman is someone who cultivates, nurtures, and tends to land or animal with care and responsibility, then a husband, in a metaphorical sense, can be seen as someone who nurtures, protects, and tends to the well-being of his wife and family, just as the husbandman cares for his field or flock. All right? So that's all I'm going to get for that. So let me get on that. Okay? But let's see. You know what? I'm going to keep going. Historical or biblical use. It says the metaphor appears especially in biblical texts and interpretations. For example, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25. Let's get that real quick. See how much time I got. Okay. All right, Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5, let's start at verse 22. It says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Mashiach is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. All right, therefore, as the church is subject unto Hamashiach, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Hamashiach also loved the church and gave himself for it. You see what I'm saying? The same way the Lord gave, our Lord gave his life for the sake of the church, all right, for the sake of the elect. Okay? The same way we as husbands, we give our lives for our women and our children. Okay? So it says in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 to 29, the husband is instructed to love his wife as Hamashiach loves the church, nourishing and cherishing her, much like a husbandman would with his crops or flock. Okay? It says the analogy implies responsibility, care, patience, and long-term commitment, not dominance or ownership. That's wrong. All right, that's incorrect. That's incorrect. Okay? Yes, we show care, we keep responsibility of the wife and the family. All right, we show patience, we show long-term commitment. Yes. But we also have dominance and we also have ownership. You see what I'm saying? This is where you have the westernized, the westernized injection into these answers. You see what I'm saying? And this is what we're breaking away from. We're breaking away from the ways of Esau, Edom, and we're going back to what the Lord has set up. So let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach. Let's go back to chapter 36. All right, let's go to chapter 36 and verse 24. It says, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. All right. So a man who finds a wife finds a good thing, and if he gets this wife, he gets a possession unto him. Man, I can't protect something if I don't own it. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to protect something if I don't own that. If I don't own this land, why am I going to protect it? You see what I'm saying? If I don't own this phone, why am I going to protect it? If I don't own this house, why am I going to protect this house? It's not mine. You see what I'm saying? It's not mine. It says this metaphor often emphasizes stewardship rather than control, patience and sacrifice, growth and mutual flourishing, intentional effort over time. All right. Stewardship rather than control. We have both stewardship and control. You see what I'm saying? We have both stewardship and control. Yahushua controls the church. Yahushua has stewardship over the church. The scriptures say that I am the good husband. I am the good shepherd. All right. The shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. And what did he say to the Heavenly Father in John chapter 17? He said, all thine are mine. All thine are mine. You see what I'm saying? So he's talking about the elect. The elect belong to him. All right. We, Lord willing, I'm among that number, but the elect belong to Yahushua. Therefore, all right, as your husband, you belong to your husband. All right. So let me get this real quick. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is the Most High Power. Jumping down to verse 7, it says, for a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of the Most High. But the woman is the glory of the man. But the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. You see? So, while ChatGPT goes off on a few things, you know what I'm saying, the core principle remains the same. And this is what we're going back to, man. So that's been the lesson, but the woman of the man. I'm going to cut that there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, whom I've grown in this truth under. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.